Should Thomas and Friends be rebooted? Before I answer this question, I just want to say I had an entire script written for this, and recording it, I realized, that's not what I want to say. So this is my answer. Yes, it should be rebooted. And this is, I think, how they can feasibly do it. They're on season 20. They've wrapped up season 20, going to season 21. So complete through season 25, and then for season 26, call it season 1, and then they can start all over again. Start with the original stories, and each episode can be 2 shorts, especially in the first season, where you have a episode about what goes on in the day, and then in the second short, you get to learn about some of the history. So that'd be like the entire first season. So really, the main characters we would see then can be James, Gordon, Edward, and Thomas. Those 4 engines. With the occasional other engine like those engines that appear in some of the drawings of the first books that we actually don't know the names of, and they just disappear after that first book. So by doing that, I believe they'll keep it small, and then they introduce James, 1 or 2 episodes before the end of the season. He'll be in his black livery and all that, and then season finale, he can have his accident and Thomas saves him and gets rewarded with his branch line. So in the series, Thomas will be doing, it's a lot of his misadventures, adventures that he occurred, and a few others, because he can do the occasional freight or passenger, but he won't have his own branch line thing. Also, they should move the big station away from Natford, and back to Tibnis as it was in the railway series. Because why is it in the current series the big railway station not where they keep their engines? Actually, it does make some sense, but go back to the way it was just to make it different. And also, put the main harbor of the series, don't make it Random Docks. Make it Knapford Harbor or Tibnis Harbor. That's my opinion. And focus more, and because the big thing is, you want Thomas in every episode. It's about Thomas. They can do that easily. Yeah, just having him puff by. That's all they need, the minimum they need to do. Or they can even have other engines talking about him. Because the show is Thomas and his friends. They've gone more toward the Thomas and not toward his friends. And they need to focus more on his friends. So, I'll leave you with this. I have presented my argument, or not my argument, but I presented how I think it should be rebooted and what they can do with it. Now, if you have to ask me more, let me know in the comments down below. Though if I had to give you one reason right now is because I want to be able to re-experience, even as a young adult, but want to be able to re-experience my childhood memories with the current series, with the CGI, where because I especially like the smoke being featured more prevalent. The one thing I do wish is that it would be nice if they could actually make the ballast that the ties and tracks sit on. I wish they would make those rocks bounce up and down, which every now and then you might see 1 or 2, but because that would just, especially when they do those undershots, which are so cool, because that would just add to the realism. But I do like how they've gotten back to having the engine's firemen and drivers in the current series. I'm kind of miss the narrator narrating and voicing all the characters. Miss that, but not too bad. I like how they are making sure they have the driver and fireman, because for a couple of seasons it was like, do they have drivers and firemen? Things like that. So yeah. So there you, and so in the early they did that, not in the current. I'm kind of rambling now. So back on track. One big reason why it should be rebooted. So the new is this, so that the new fans can experience the original Audrey stories without necessarily having to watch the stop motion series or seasons, which they can if they want to, and I would recommend that they do. And if you're watching this and you're a parent of young kids and they've only watched the CGI seasons, show them the original stop motion model seasons. They probably will be a little weirded out by it. I was weirded out when the CGI came around for the first time. So there. And then also they can throw in the stories that haven't gotten adapted yet. There's a few by the Reverend Audrey, but there's like a whole group by his son that has yet to be adapted. Wait, they in the first four by the season 4 they ran out of Audrey stories to adapt, and so no new stories were readapted. No new stories were adapted until very recently. You had the first 2 books were readapted with The Adventure Begins. And I had hoped when they released that they would do, kind of like almost like a day or like every year release a special like that, readapting the original stories. That's another thing they could do. Oh, and then in the what was it? It was one of the more recent movies. The one before the Great Race, Thomas and the Lost Treasure, I think. You can correct me if I'm wrong. I liked how they introduced the Osdale locomotives back, into the TV series for the first time. Because that was very nice to see. Because they had not been featured. And then in season 20, those stories were adapted into the series. Which I think is the first time the Audrey stories were actually adapted. Adapted. Since season 4. I don't even know if there were any in season 4. I'm just using season 4 because those are typically considered some of the better seasons. So there you go. Why I believe Thomas and Friends needs to be rebooted. Mainly so that the original stories can be readapted. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and comment down below. Subscribe to my channel for future content. Check out my other channels, John Barry, the Alternate History channel, and John Barry Gaming. Check me out on social media, Facebook, Twitter, and Google+. Support me on Patreon, and check out my website. Links are in the description down below. Have a good day, a good night, wherever you are. Have a good one.